Rwanda's lower house of parliament on Thursday passed a constitutional amendment enabling President Paul Kagame to run for a third consecutive term in 2017. Lawmakers voted unanimously to approve cutting presidential terms from the current 7 to 5 years while maintaining a 2-term limit. But an exception was made for Kagame, who will be allowed to run for yet another 7-year term after his current mandate ends in 2017. Now, constitutional change must still be voted on by the upper house before being put to a national referendum, but it is widely expected to be passed with little outspoken opposition. Now, if approved, it could see Kagame potentially rule until 2034. That'll be 4 decades since he effectively took power.
L'article 172 est bien clair, c'est que
The Article 172 is clear. After the mandate after 2017, every president who will be elected for another mandate of 7 years. So he may be re-elected according to the article. We had some popular consultations. Some articles were amended according to the people's wish. Some other articles stayed as they were voted in 2003, or with some revisions that took place between 2003 and 2010. So it is not a new constitution, but a revision of the 2013 constitution.
Well, for some analysis and insight on this developing story, we're now joined here in our Nairobi studios by Professor Macharia Monene, an African analyst and lecturer at the United States International University in Nairobi. Always a pleasure to have you with us, Professor. Let's start by, it certainly seems that Rwanda's parliament will be clearing the way for President Kagame to seek a third term. But what's rather interesting is that they will also be installing a 5-year term limit for his eventual successor. What do you make of this latest development?
Was a distinction being made between somebody who is considered to be a savior of the country as well as a founder of a new order. And Kagame happens to carry those two factors on his shoulders. And usually it is very difficult for somebody who is perceived to be a savior of a country or to be the founder of a new order for people to let that person go. So he has that popularity. Associated with that is the feeling that when he leaves office, eventually, those who come after him may not be as good as he is or would not be able to measure up to his standards. So that's why you have that distinction, that no one thereafter would be allowed or be able to stay for as long as the founder savior has.
And I suppose, as you say that he's considered the savior of the country, the founding father of the country. I suppose then it's very unlikely that the proposal will meet any resistance as it proceeds to the upper house and eventually a referendum.
Well, there'll be very little resistance, if any. It would not be unusual if somebody, 1 or 2, 3 people, were to express reservations, and that's as it should be. But the reservations to be expressed would not be enough to stop the movement of whatever is going on. So then the referendum is a given. There will be, it will be approved by the people of Rwanda, mainly because of the image that he carries for the country. And 20 years is not too far. Those who remember 1994 and 1990s, and there are still many, they do not want to go back into those days because there is the impression created that some of the people who may not want him to be there may be associated with what happened before 1994. And that's not a very good picture for them to bear.